to talk. So Adrian's going to open up with a few words and then we'll open it up for questions. Adrien?
We're just really excited about KG. You know, it's a guy that we had our eye on. We love the way that he plays in terms of what we've been talking about in terms of changing our demeanor and just the type of attitude that we want to carry onto the field. He embodies all that. He has great leadership qualities. He was the alpha in that program. And, you know, he's just a tremendous player. He could do it all. The pulls, physical in the run game, pass protect, all those different things. I'm just really excited to coach him going forward.
Okay, first one, Mark Caboli.
Adrien, sure seems like you are accumulating linemen that have that mean streak. Is that something that can be taught by you, or do you have to have that? What kind of personality you have to have before you even come to you?
I think people like to say they could teach you, but I think it's inherently in you. Like some people just naturally have that. You know, as a coach, you could be demanding of it, but in critical moments of the game when man measures man, I mean, whoever you truly are is going to come out. So you have that dog in you and that wolf in you. You know, you're going to continue to do that, you know, in critical moments of the game. So I love it when I find a guy that I don't have to bring that out of, that he just naturally like that. And he carries himself that way and he plays with that, you know, nasty disposition. And this is just a guy that could do that. We have a number of guys in our group that can do that. And even if they can do it, we're going to demand all they have and more and try to get all that we can out of it. So I'm really excited about it. And in terms of what we're talking about doing, he embodies all that.
Jerry Dulac.
Hey, Adrien, I trust you are eyeing Kendrick as a center, and you kind of touched on his why is that nastiness important to you?
It just sets the tone, especially at that position. You know, it's in the belly of the beast. And he comes out and he's playing with that type of demeanor, it carries on throughout the group. And if we play collectively like that, you know, it's contagious, you know, on the team. So it starts with that guy. And that's been the case here, whether it's Pouncey, Dermontti Dawson, Mike Webster, whatever the case. I'm not comparing him to those guys, but just in terms of that is the leader of your group. And you would like him to be the leader of your side of the ball. So just if you can start with him and if you have that, I think it's contagious and it carries over and it's beneficial to the side of the ball as a whole.
And you're looking at him at center?
Looking at him at center, but he's more than capable of playing all three positions equally well. So I'm just excited about his position flexibility and all that he can do.
Jeff Hathorn.
Adrien, how do you handle expectations? Obviously, if he were to play center, he's filling in for a guy that might be a Hall of Famer someday. How do you manage that and work him into that mix?
Well, first of all, Pounce is a definite Hall of Famer, but I'm not comparing him to him. We just there's a standard here long before I came here of what the expectation is of our offensive line. And just he needs to not only maintain that, but try to elevate that. And he's coming in and competing with some other guys who are trying to do the same thing. So hopefully just iron sharpens iron and everybody gets better from it.
Brooke Pryor.
Hey, Adrien, I know Kendrick didn't have many games where he started at center. What about from what you guys saw on film tells you that he can make that transition from playing guard primarily to center?
Well, he played center, but he played at a high level. You're talking about a guy that he took snaps in practice, but didn't play a number of games. And there are 2 games that he played in. I think it was his bowl game the year before, and then one this year where he didn't even know that he was going to play in the game. But he was ready for it. He was making calls from the guard position. I think at one point for a couple of games, he played next to a tight end. They ran through a number of linemen. He had to make calls for him. They had 3 or 4 quarterbacks playing throughout the year. Just to operate under those kind of circumstances and still play at a high level is just really impressive, you know, and just from a mental standpoint, had an opportunity to go out for his pro day and work him out myself, feel his power, see the suddenness up close and personal. I was able to talk some ball with him, his ability to retain and just what he knew and just his understanding for the offensive line play as a whole was just, it was tremendous. It was very impressive.
Alan Saunders.
Hey, he mentioned playing a lot of mostly zone at Illinois. Do you feel like that's, you know, he can do more than just that at the next level, or do you guys anticipate maybe doing more of that? And just in general, how do you expect this line to play differently, even with the returning guys you have this season?
Well, I'm not gonna get into the other guys too much. I mean, this is his day, and we're here talking about him, excited about him. When the coaches made available, when we go to camp, I'll let Man Canada kind of lead the way on that, and then I'll follow up on it. But today's his day. Just we're really excited for him. Just kind of want to focus on that. Respectfully.
Carter.
Adrien, with Kendrick starting 33 straight games at Illinois, he became like it seemed like he was a leader there. What kind of things after conversations with him did you see as a leadership quality as him, not just as a center, but as a guy that you guys can look to grow within the organization and be a guy that becomes a huge part of the locker room?
Well, it's just not the things that I've heard from the coaches. I talked to his coach and I talked to other people around that program, but also the place where he trains now. I know the guy that he works out with and or works out for, and then just talking to other guys that he's played with in the past, and just seeing him interact with people on pro day and just how he, people follow him, and he had a commanding presence. When he walked in the room, he didn't need to say much. It was just he came in and it kind of changed the energy in the room. And just talking to him, some people are a little bit timid. He wasn't. He just really embraced the moment. He was energized by the moment. There's no nervousness or anything like that. Just it goes beyond just the play. It's just the way that a man carries himself when he walks in the room. If people want to follow, and he just has that. He walks in and he commands respect. It's pretty impressive. I like it. I like it.
Joe Rudder.
Adrien, aside from the pro day, did you get a lot of Zoom calls with him, and anything he said that kind of stood out to you?
It wasn't any one thing in particular. It's just, a combination of everything altogether. I mean, it's just, he's a special kid all the way around, and just a lot of those things just stood out immediately when I first met him. And then some things on film obviously stood out. They're verified in person. And just walking away, just felt really good about it. Just kind of crossing our fingers and hope that we get him, and we did. So we're really happy about that. Very excited.
Noah Strackbean.
In a lot of Kendrick's scouting reports, a lot of people talk about his running game or his run blocking ability. What makes him such a good run blocker?
His ability to redirect. He's so athletic. He has great balance. Some people could say that maybe he's too aggressive at times, but I'd rather be that than have to beg him to be aggressive. He just runs off the ball. Like I said before, he's not timid at all. He throws his hands. If a guy's moving either direction, he can redirect. He has good feet, plays with good center of gravity. His change of direction is excellent. And he just finishes. He just plays with a nasty demeanor and tries to finish opponent and pose his will every single play. I love watching this film.
Tim Benz.
Adrien, because he doesn't have a ton of starts at center, is it fair to say he's a bit of a project there for you guys, or is he polished enough that he could actually compete for a starting role in that capacity?
I don't think anybody's really polished. Everybody needs to get better as they progress, even guys that are at this level already. But I think the fact, some people could look at it like it's negative. I look at it like it's a positive because he's been able to play guard and center in some cases in the same game. I think his understanding for O-line play as a whole is further ahead than most other guys that have been playing one position their whole career.
Brian Batko.
Adrien, one thing I noticed about Kendrick, he was listed at 6'4" on Illinois' roster. I think at Pro Day he checked in just under 6'2". How was he able to excel at that size in the Big Ten, and what gives you confidence that he can hold up at the next level?
He's just sudden and he's explosive. He's different in that way. There's a lot of guys that are pushers and are shovers. This guy's a puncher. He can roll his hips. He can bend. He gets under defenders. He gets in defenders quick. Anything that some may think is a disadvantage for him, I don't see it being that way. I think his suddenness and explosiveness and all those different attributes that he has that are different, things that can't be taught, those things are beneficial. And that separates him from some of his opponents that's going against, gives him a decisive advantage.
Final one, Chris Adamski.
It was mentioned earlier about the scouting report, just reading other people's subjective opinions on Kendrick. Say pass protection is a weakness. What can he do to be better at that? Do you see that? Is that part of it, being aggressive? Of course, it's easier to be aggressive and be a run blocker than it is maybe in pass pro.
It's funny, and I want to say in the most respectful way, some people watch highlight films. I've watched 2 full seasons of him play. And just in watching this play, the times that he's had issues in terms of pass protection, it is him being a little bit too aggressive. But like I said, those are things that can be corrected. That comes with his background probably of being a defensive player first. He just wants to put hands on people. And I like that. It's just one of the things you got to teach him to sit down and stance and all those, those subtleties that make all the difference. And I think he'll be fine. It's just focusing on those things and improving that in camp, and we'll be rolling.
All right. Thanks, Adrien.